say a little bit thing of what Dr. the police, one of them said. It is easy, but it's not that easy. For example, where I come from, there are certain things that the woman is supposed to do. But when we came here in Igbo, it's not possible. It's very difficult. But the way we live, the way we are brought up, like what my brother said, that if you went to the restaurant, that they will pay. In Nigeria, it's not possible. No, the man is going to pay. No, I'm not saying to give some talk. So it's not all that easy. But what I feel is that it's better for everyone to respect their culture. Culture is the problem. If you respect maybe the way, like my neighbors touch people, they always stay alone. You don't have no friend. My house is that's our culture. So if, for example, now I'm married to a white man, so he's coming to my house, seeing people going and coming, he will not be happy. But that is how I was raised in Africa. So it is better for each partners to respect their culture. Culture is the main problem. If you respect my culture and I respect you, I think there will be peace in the house. For example, now I am a Christian and you're a Muslim. So if you allow me to go to church and allow you to go to mosque in a peaceful way, I think there will be peace at home. I think that's the most important thing. That's my own idea.
Thank you. From the thank you. We still have a lot of questions, and we still have a lot of things to say. Today is our day, and we are already here. So the summary of everything is that communication is very, very important. Yes. Very important. Very important from the beginning and to the end. So
sometimes you need to keep silent. You don't have to say everything that you see. You don't have to talk about everything that you see. Sometimes keeping the peace is more important than making your point. As a man, sometimes you have to learn to say sorry, even when you are not wrong. I could give you a scenario. A Muslim and a Christian were living peacefully until Gaza happened. And they decided not to talk about Gaza and Israel in the house. But the moment that there is something about Gaza on the television, the Muslim will blame the Americans, the Europeans, and the Christians. So if you are a Christian in that context, you have to be wise about what you say. Because if you say something stupid, not that is wrong, but if you say something that is not appropriate to cushion the impact the eyes or the world, you might end up being on the couch for the next 6 months. So, yes, sometimes in the home, you have to learn to sometimes say nothing to keep the peace. When Gaza is over, Afghanistan might happen. So always you have to be on your guard. It's a conversation that never ends. The day you die, the person will be happy that you didn't quarrel so much. There are good memories to remember, even though you were different, when you manage your differences together.
And without actually saying much, like he says, if the couples or the lady and the man is always, going to shop together, coming to school to bring their kids together, it gives people also another, without causing any division among the people that, okay, this person, we can respect their choices of what the woman is. Because I think that appearance is sometimes is also part of encouraging people to have this conversation about, okay, people can start to have another look, understanding of, okay, these people are really together, so we can't do anything about it. So we have to respect their choices, you know. So that acceptance in the community also has to do with the physical appearance of couples and doing things together, going to parties together without, you know, having the fear of being shamed. Because sometimes you can say, I don't want to be there because I don't know how you people are going to look at me. But if you can be able to, you know, have that cause to be there, so it changes people's perspective about, okay, they start to get to know you, maybe have conversation then with you about trying to know your background, and then they started to understand, oh, okay, hey, actually this is a nice guy.
We have a typical example here.
Yeah.
The apostle and archbishop.
Yeah.
They are inseparable. So we are the home of where God is.
Because if you go in the past where there were actually lesser black people in the community, I think they face more difficulties than now, because then they have to, you know, be seen around with different looks. People are looking at them differently. But I think we should also accept that those people try to make changes because they face actually the physical abuse. You can walk in the street and someone's looking at you like, in a way, you know, it's discriminating without that person saying a word. You know? So I remember in the centrum, in the city. So sometimes you walk and you see you walking behind somebody's looking at, you know, it's kind of like you want to rob the person. So actually what he said is discriminating without actually you having any conversation with those people. So I think the more people appear physically in the community where they get to know each other, have a voice, then the more they understand also, they create that without more division, but they create that awareness like, okay, I'm here to stay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We are ending first part. Before we end it, I would like anybody who wishes to say something about discrimination in relationship. Can we have anybody from the floor who will say something addition to what they have already said? Or if there is any argument what they said that you feel that is not right, that you want to argue on it.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, I think we are. Before the lady, I want us to look. It looks to me like we are kind of sugarcoating, or is it the right word? We're just massaging this thing like there's no big issue. You know, there is institutional discrimination, and there is discrimination that is practiced maybe on a, let's say, family level, like the story we had, the couple Doug mentioned, who didn't want to see their grandchildren because of the, you know, those the races that were involved, so, you know, the man passed away. So on a certain level, on a family level, sometimes people discriminate, okay? But also, in society, there are certain things that happen. We know that this is pure discrimination, it's institutionalized, and that is why there are laws to help fight against that. Now, I want us to hear of this kind of issue, so we also can contribute to how we can solve it, or how we can recognize it, how we can deal with it. If we kind of, you know, massage the thing in a gentle way, and we don't really hit the issue hard at the core, I think we will not be happy now.
That's why themselves too, the panelists, I need them to criticize.
So let them, those are the problems, feel free to also speak.
Yeah.
Give them a chance.
But I think we are talking about relationships, so it has to be an individual experience.
But I want somebody to criticize the relationship, how the discrimination appear, what causes it, how is it happening, how to cope it, and why is it existing. Though we shall come.
I would like to make mention of one. You know, when before Meghan got married to Prince Harry, the royal family in UK, you heard all that happen. You know, it was like there was racism playing in the whole thing. Even till now, it's still there. Okay? Before Meghan began, before she had the first child, they were wondering what the color of the child would be. What is that? It was clearly racism, discrimination playing out. But, it took, shall I say, the grace of God for that girl to enter the family. Even then, she wasn't wholly accepted. They always look for an opportunity to make an issue about her or with her. So how about that?
My opinion, look at the critical part of racism and discrimination. Institutional racism is what brings injustice. That's what denies people what they're supposed to have. When you are institutionally denied the right thing, that is a crime. And that is what I think we should be talking about here. People's personal family issue should be something less of importance, because individuals deal with issues according to the situation in their family. Take, for example, if you're married to somebody who's from Ontario and you people have children together, it is quite difficult for you to institute African mentality in that child without causing serious problem in the family, even though you start early. And it comes as well to a Surinamese. If you're married to a Suriname woman and you think it is proper for me to raise up my child with some cane and some water to draw back, they will allow that child to go the way they want, and at the end of the day, you will lose your child. So it is important for us to have a divide in between. What are we talking about here? Is it institutional racism?
Discrimination.
Racism and discrimination. So in my instance, I would say it is important to break some certain things down. Why is it that people of color who are not pure Dutch find it difficult to find justice if things rises up? I have instances where things like when people do aangifte, it takes them longer time to get a reply from the state, from the police, than when a Dutch person makes an aangifte. Take, for example, if there is a crime situation in Cryness now, I don't say it is screened or it is a mindset. If somebody is called a colored person is involved, it takes a while. The time space before a response comes is quite different if it is a white person. So those are the issues that we should be thinking and talking about in open space like this. How do we bridge this to make sure that everybody who's qualified gets the same justice? It does not matter where you come from. Equity. So that is the critical question that we should be highlighting. That critical question, it has to do with if you have a child with somebody from a mixed race, how do you make sure that this child have the same opportunity of both parents? It is important because it's happening in our community. Let me stand up. It's happening in our community quite a lot now. That most people who came here quite in the early 90s married, and most of them are losing their family, their kids, because of separation. It's true. So these are the facts that we need to highlight and talk. How do we bridge this so that the kids will know who is a father, even though there is no marriage, and know who is a mother? How do we come into this and make sure that both parents have equal rights in marriage, even though the marriages has come to be separated? So these are facts that most people, you find out that they don't have any lineage to say, I am speaking over my wife's decision. I give as an instance. If your child is talented and you are from a particular, normally children takes on to fathers. Take for example, your child can play football. And it happens that your wife is dragging that your ex-wife is dragging that your child should play for her country. While in the normal sense, it is mandated that it's a child, he bears your name, he should play for your home country. And it becomes a very big raft that the children themselves are confused. They stay in the middle. Most children at this age are married to their mother if you are no more in the house. They sympathize with their moms and left a lot of fathers in Galo thinking they cannot be able to use a lot of might, a lot of power on the children in order not to cause serious problem to their health, mental health. So you let things be. And these are happening to most people who have been here for several years. those who are here early, who married early. Unfortunately, some of these things are not discussed because it's personal. And some people feel this stereotype kind of shame to speak it out. Because when you speak it out, people are going to ask. So your marriage is breaking so much that you don't see your children. But it's happening. It is happening in our community. So I think our dialogue should be more focused on how we have to allow both parents be part of parenting. So that discrimination or hatred within marriages that existed will not come to affect the children who are born here, who are Dutch. So decision making should be aligned, that parents should know how to separate their conflicts from raising up kids. So that kids will have a proper direction. Some of us, some of the people, let me say, not say some of us, some of the people does not have children who have a sense of belonging to where they come from. Because are you Italian? Are you Suriname? Are you African? They are caught in the middle. Because everybody is dragging these children. Everybody wants them to have their identity. So these are the facts that we need to find a way. How do we highlight this? Because it's happening in most homes. So I'll keep it for here while we progress. I'll keep it for here.
Thank you. Those questions.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to chip in something about discrimination, because some of us, or all of us, we have experienced discrimination in one way or the other. And that is the fact. Because in the past years, let me say, as a black person, and you go to the city and you enter one of the rich shops, immediately you walk in, you will see a security come behind you. Can I help you? Then for me, I will say, have you helped the rest of the people? And it is only me that remain to help. I think I can help myself. You know, it happens time and time. And another one is that I have a brother who started his life in Brabant. Is it Brabant? So, and unfortunately for him, he found a Dutch girl that they fell in love, but it happened that he is, because he's still living there, is the only black person in the neighborhood. So every day police car will come, stop, and ring their bell. And he will open the door and say, what are you looking for? Oh, we are just controlling the neighborhood. And fortunately for him, he now noticed that it wasn't like official visit to everybody. It happens to him because it's like, what is this young man doing here? Maybe he will now come and be stealing in the neighborhood. That is a pure discrimination. So, yeah. So he now made sure that, you know, he put on his life to this relationship. And even the parents of the girl was like, eh? No, you know, so they said no. They don't want this guy. It's a pure discrimination. Before their daughter said, Mom, Dad, whatever you think, I am in love. But thank God that the love has developed, that even every year, even when the husband is not going to Africa, she will pack her bags and go to Nigeria and stay with the mother-in-law for 6 weeks and comes back. So what I am trying to say is, the discrimination cannot stop today. It will not stop tomorrow. The only thing is, how do we, make up these things that it will not be too obvious that when you see a black man or a white man, you now tell the person by your character, your body language, or even verbally, I don't like you. So how do we? Because when we came here, we were few, but now we are plenty. We are having children here. We are getting married here. We are having boyfriends here. Even the Dutch boyfriend, black girlfriend. So, and you see that it's genuine relationship. But how do we take away the discrimination in it? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening, all. My name is Noel. There are one or two things I had wanted or I want to say concerning what JJ said about these children. One, you see, upbringing. There's a culture in this country that I think most of us all know. When you have children with maybe Suriname, so to say, because they have the greater number here, then they give the child to the grandmothers. The way the way the grandmothers train up these children has a lot of role to play with the kids. If the kids grow with the direct parents, it's a different ballgame, because the man himself will have more influence on the children. But with grandmothers, even in Africa, you see any child that is being raised by the grandmothers, it's always most of them are spoiled children. You see, because they give them what you, as a direct parent, will not give them, your grandmother will give them. So the thing goes right into their head that they even prefer to stay with them because they are more free there than you. That is the father. Another thing is discrimination. Let's not run away from the facts. We all know where we come from. This thing, like my big sister said, here, that discrimination will always be there. So the only advice I can give is let's tread with caution, because there's no way black and white will mix. There's no, even if you like, stay 100 years in a place that is a white neighborhood, that atom of discrimination must be there. It's the fact, but the only thing is tread with caution. Thank you.
Sorry, what I wanted to say is about, we are talking about discrimination. I don't think discrimination is only about white and black. It's also black and black. So it's a general, it's a general, very big issue, you understand? But I think what the most worrying part of the discrimination is when it's institutionalized. You understand? When laws are being made based on discrimination, where you're coming from, and something that has to do mostly with immigration laws, is actually being made in the trading government based on where people are coming from. So I think even in Netherlands, you hear recently, with the new government, a lot about maybe the Muslims community, generally in Europe. Now you hear about the Muslims community or people that is coming mostly from Asian countries because of fear of insecurity, fear of domination and values, cultural values. So there are a lot of government in Europe, people are coming, go to the house, there's protests every day about the refugees and stuff. So I think the institutionalized discrimination is the one that worries us. And that is the one we have been facing for a long time, and I think that is one of the reasons why this dialogue actually came into place. because I think last time we spoke about police profiling towards Nigerians in particular in the past. And that was a big issue for us, and I think we discussed about it a long time. We gave us an example about him and his brother coming from vacation, things, how people profile. I think that is the most worrying part of us, that we want to see how far has the police gone into that institutionalized racism, not actually racism, but discrimination, but like what he said in Dutch. I understand when we talk about discrimination, it covers a lot. It's in the workplace, it's in the playground, it's in schools, it's everywhere. It's even when you go to the community, some people, when you're coming from a particular place, like what you said, they don't give you the attention, or they just wave you away. So those are the ones that are more dangerous than, I don't like it because you're from, let me say, you're from Iraq. I don't like it because you're white. I think those ones are the less worrying part of it, because it has to do with individual. You can't force somebody to like you. So if I'm getting married to a Dutch lady and the family doesn't like it, it's left for me. I have to deal with that. You know, I know about the institutionalized discrimination. You know, like sometimes we say how the police is more aggressive in the southeast than maybe in north or in west. So maybe the police in the west, they have another stereotype, another idea. When they stop you, they speak to you in a different way. Or is the police, when they stop you, they're already battle ready. You know, you look at their faces, they're very aggressive, their aspiration. So those are the ones that really worries us, because that is what we are facing, you know. So I think in the program also, that I don't want to jump into it because of discrimination in workplaces, you know, because all of us, that is where we're having issues. But in the relationship, well, it's just for cultural purposes, to have understanding about why are people not happy maybe when certain people are getting married to each other, which will always be there, because people can make their choices. You know, you can say, like I said, they don't like you because of your religion. So maybe I won't want my son, maybe, for example, to say, marry a Muslim. So I can say, no, I don't want you to go with a Muslim, because I believe my values as a Christian covers me in a lot of issues. So I think that discrimination is generally, so we shouldn't make it like maybe it's white man is just generally.
Thank you very much. When we talk about institutionalized discrimination, you know, we talk about the camp and so on. Those ones may have laws backing what they say, and if they make a country makes a law, the ignorance of the law is not an excuse. But what we are talking, what we want us to focus again is microaggression. You know, the microaggression at workplace. Microaggression at work hurt more than outright racism. It hurts more than outright racism. Yeah, because they are constant and harder to prove. Yeah. So that is the area where I would like us to go, because when we start talking about those that are in their legal system, it has a backing which you're supposed to know, read it in their vet, the Constitution, and say this is against the law. This is that. Those ones have punishment, but this micro issues don't have punishment. You cannot even prove it, because it may be behavioral. It's behavioral. It's just somehow something, but you know that is a racism against you. But if you say it outside, they say no, you can't prove it. Yeah, and then tomorrow it will happen again. Then tomorrow another person will do the same thing. Yeah, you are dying in silence. Because you cannot. I
think that discriminatory behavior in the workplaces is very difficult, like what you said, because most places they don't have. Some places don't have actually a work code or behavioral code at workplaces. So people come and do everything what they want. But also some places they don't have where you can actually report it. They don't have data of those reports. They don't have conversation when people come forward to make claims of discrimination at workplaces, because the people actually on top don't take it seriously. Yeah, so that is also a part of a very big problem. So I've had also experiences like, and sometimes it differs, you know, where you work hard, the people on top have understanding about those issues. If you work in a place where they take it serious, then they actually set up a place where you can report discrimination. But most places, they don't have it because people don't, maybe like what you said, they don't have belief that someone can hurt you through their behavior or what they say at workplaces. So,
my friend is you. So how do we solve it? How do we stop it so that about racism and microaggression in the workplace?
I think that every form of behavior toward another person that is based on race or some form of discrimination is incorrect. I can cite some examples where you might consider them to be microaggression. But again, the definition of how you feel is individually felt, is your perception. Sometimes the other person means well. When I started to work in AMC, in the department, I was the only black doctor there. I was still very new in the Netherlands and I was trying to find my feet. Everywhere I went in, people started to ask me, what's your name, where are you from, how long are you staying? At some point, I got very irritated, and people could see from my body language that I'm done with these questions. I don't want everybody feeling they have a right to ask me questions. And don't tell me you are being curious. You just want to know. Just don't want to know. Just leave me alone. So I felt I was being irritated. I felt 1,000 people working here. Why do you bother about me? Now, several years ago, you noticed that a lot of people decided to do ZZP work. And a lot of those people were actually migrant people who are working, for example, in the Zurich, in the healthcare system. The reason why they did that was because they didn't feel appreciated at work. They would give them longer hours. When they're sick, there's no consideration. You have to come. The pressure from the bodies was quite high. So those people decided, since I'm working so hard, getting a fixed income, I'm not being appreciated, I want to work as a ZZ payer. And in those years that they worked as a ZZ payer, they were free, they were happy, they worked hard, but they were paid for it. Now, some of them are getting back to work as staff of the units, and they are not enjoying it because they are getting back to the situation they were before, where they were working and they were not really appreciated. It's a place you work, somebody will say, wow, you did good today. You've helped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Instead, they want to put more on your table, and they feel overburdened and overwhelmed. I see some of them with waist pain. A lot of people walking around ask them, but what can we do? In every workplace in the Netherlands, there are rules as to hours and as to how much you can expose a person to. And there are places where you can complain. If you don't find a place, there's an ombudsman where you can say, hey, there are practices going on in this company. It is not according to the law, and it's a health hazard working in those places. I know they do that to migrant workers a lot in the agrarian sector and in healthcare sometimes, but we can always do something. The reason is our opportunities seem to be limited. In some way, maybe our thought is not so good. Maybe we don't want to go to Brabant to work because it will be too obvious. You walk past every house and every old man is looking at the window. Who is that person working there? So we don't want to leave. We stay within this region. But it means that whether our language is adequate, we need to ask, what can I do if I feel that I'm being overused at my workspace? The good thing is, today you can ask ChatGPT. And ChatGPT can tell you, this is what you can do, this is what you can do. And you can write an anonymous letter to those people that something is happening at work, and you think that the work environment is unhealthy, is unprofessional, and it's against the law. At some point in time, they're going to send inspection to go to that place and check it out. But what's important as well is that you should feel appreciated. When I felt when I was an AMC, there are so many people doing so many things, I won't be able to have my voice. I won't be able to work the way I want to. So I decided to prepare myself to be on my own. And I made a conscious decision. So part of it is, we're all here. We need to fight to have our own businesses, have our own companies. There's a big market in the Southeast. So you don't have to be anybody's boss. But when you have people working under you, please treat them so nicely they wouldn't want to leave you.
Sometimes we act like there isn't really discrimination. Not too long ago in the news media, there were stories about people from AC Europe being hired here, underpaid, and their house treated like they were less of a human being. See, so this is institutional racism. So it can happen, if it happens to the values that they're saying, the AC Europeans are also bearing the brunt of this kind of treatment. So there is racism here in this country. That's the point I wanted to make. So I want the police friends, maybe they can respond to that.
Yeah, well, obviously there is institutional discrimination. That's a fact. That's several incidents that happen that we know. For instance, toeslagenaffaire. Well, I can sum up more like that, those scandals. What's important to know, because what the doctor already said, there are institutions where you can go to when you have discrimination on the work floor. So you also have an organization like Frameworks. Frameworks also can help you start a case or start a lawsuit or contact your employer and to discuss this matter. And I know that when you work at the government, there are people who are where you can go to, trustees in the company where you can go to and you can report this. But don't forget the power of the Arbeidsinspectie. Because the Arbeidsinspectie is the institution that is controlling companies about the way how they follow the laws that they have to apply to all the workers. So what you're saying that they are putting to a lot of work, the working hours are too long. When you go to the Arbeidsinspectie, they can also check them. They can check how are the work hours, how are the conditions where they work, and do they have the right tools, the right equipment, the right clothing, the right, is their organization built up right, that there also are trustees inside of the company, are there people where they can complain. And when they don't have anything in order, the Arbeidsinspectie can shut down a company or an institution, or they can give them a fine, and it's a high fine that they can give. I think about, they talk about thousands of euros, maybe hundreds of thousands of euros, depending on how big the company is and how many workers are being affected. So don't wait, but take your action, and you can go to those institutes who will check, because I called them several times for companies where there are issues. So just do it. Don't wait till it gets you till the end that you have to say, I'm quitting my job or you get sick at home. Because at my girlfriend's company, it's the same thing. My girlfriend also got problems with this case. And it was not discrimination, but it was another part of harassment from the company. She started also a case with arbeidsinspectie, and now they have to pay her 2 years' salary.
I have a question. If somebody reports police discrimination, do you have an updated list with you? Police, inside the police. If I report about police discrimination, maybe during arrest or confrontation with the police.
Yeah. We have
police take it really serious to investigate it and have.
Yeah, and I can tell you why. Because when you make a complaint, it comes to our internal affairs part. They will call you. They will have a conversation. What's the context of the complaint? What's happening? They're going to check in the system. What did we write down in the system about the particular arrest or incident? If there is nothing found, they will contact the colleague. Can you explain? The first part is that there will be a conversation between somebody from internal affairs, the manager of that officer, you, and the officer itself. There will be a conversation, and when you say after the conversation, well, now I'm satisfied about what is about the conversation, then they can stop the case. If you are not satisfied, you can push through your complaint. When it happened and the complaint is being found approved, then it will go to a commission. And that commission, there is no police officer in that commission. They're all civilians, and they will check from their perspective to the complaint. And when they say, well, the complaint, yeah, there is something wrong here, then internal affairs will start an investigation, internal investigation. If there are criminal acts, then they will also start a criminal investigation to the police officer. And when you have 2 complaints as a police officer that are proven in your career, let's say I'm looking to, I need 2 complaints is enough to go for discharge. Yeah, 2 complaints is enough to go for discharge. And even if it's 1 complaint but there's a criminal act, then you can also be discharged.
The victim is also being notified by those process. Just police
And I know there are stories that people say, well, they're helping each other, but I can say that nobody is a fan of internal affairs because they will check the complaint, but they will also check everything that you do. How many hours you write down, what did you look up on your phone, and if they find something that's not right, because then they will do immediately a full background check. So when they see that you're on social media, for instance, have discriminated subjects, or you post something that is about discrimination or racism, you have a problem.
That's why I'm asking this. There are instances where maybe you make a complaint to the police about certain things, and you don't get, let me say, you don't get an immediate reply, and then you go to an advocate, and a lawyer calls, and then immediately you get some answers from the same issues.
Oh yeah, that when they go,
So intentionally, maybe they don't want to.
No, I think that I can say for myself, my experience with the internal affairs, that all the cases where I had complaints about people who made a complaint about a colleague of mine, we took up the complaint ourselves. We send it through to the because you do the complaint in front of a manager, inside of the police team leader, and they send it through to the internal affairs. And internal affairs, when it's at internal affairs, we don't have any influence on the case. Because when internal affairs do their investigation, we cannot see what they are doing. We don't know what they're doing. The only thing, as a police officer, when you know that you have a problem, is when you need to go with your team leader to the head office, and you will get you will hear that there will be they will start an investigation too. So when you don't have any answer from that particular department, my advice is call again. When they don't answer, go to the ombudsman or another organization like Majesty, and you can push through. Because I cannot speak for all my colleagues, but in my experience, I know that when there is a complaint, I against the police officer, they will take it really seriously.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We ourselves discriminate among ourselves. There is discrimination with our color. At the workplace, my experience, I had less discrimination, I would say. I don't know why. Because they had a time when you had it was sent by the Ursan Bureau, labor exchange. And, you know, at the end they would ask, or they would pick out who would like to stay or who they want to stay to remain in the job. And several times I was left to remain in the job, you know. I don't know, you know, the discrimination, I would say, and racism, I haven't felt it much, you know. I don't know, because if you look at me, I passed through, my parents might have passed through the discrimination and the racism because I'm mixed, you know. And at this stage, you know, I might be lucky, you know. And yeah, the standard that we set for ourselves, it is very important. And you know, our personality, our outlook, yeah. Because if we have the right outlook or the right clothes, your pants is not dropping and those kind of things, you get a better reaction from the crowd of people, from the person, from the police. You know, the outlook takes it means a lot to us, of individually. You know.
But that is also discrimination, the way you dress. That is how you look now. Well, if you have to discriminate because, I understand what you said because there was a time when I was schooling in Nigeria and I had an interview and I came with my cap on. I was a young boy of early 20s and the person told me, oh, you have to take your cap off because they won't like this.
That is by right. When you enter a building, you're supposed to take off your cap.
No, I'm not entering a building where it's forbidden. It's my way of dressing. But now they are discriminating. And look, I look because how I dress. There's no dress code in it on how you have to dress to dress. You're not naked. So you can dress actually anyhow you like. And that is what we are talking about. So if you be part of the group that is working and is thinking that a young boy who, because of his fashion sense, decided to drop his pants and is walking away, why should the police see him differently from a normal guy who has his yas on or wearing a tight jeans? So that is what we are. So if I see a guy who dresses like a lady and walking on the street, should I discriminate against because he looks like a gay? Because he has the right to dress how he wants to dress. So when you're talking about, and that is the issues what we're having, when you're talking about how a young boy drops his pants, or is wearing his cap on, or he has a chain on his neck, that is our main issues, because we live it here. We live where police has to arrest you, or have different opinion, and stereotype you because he thinks you're a gangster, because you know you have a chain on, you have your cap on. And
that is how society has us. We grow up in the society of that way.
Yeah, but that is not good.
Yeah.
It's illegal.
What you are saying now is more like, I know the point where you want to go, but I don't, no, I do not subscribe to that, because you can dress the way you want to dress, and there are unwritten ways how we need to dress, but that is something that society is printing out for themselves. So it's not that when I'm in another place, I have to dress in a suit, and when I'm there, I have to remove my cap. If I want to dress my cap, I want to have my cap on, I want to have my pants, let's just say in Dutch, half elf, and we go to the shop, I can go to the shop. And it doesn't matter that when somebody else in a suit enters the same shop, that I get attention, negative attention, and he doesn't. Because Article 1 says very clearly, everybody needs to be treated equal. And it doesn't matter your walk of life, it doesn't matter the way you dress, it doesn't matter what religion you are, it doesn't matter what color your skin is, it doesn't matter how you think about life, it's free. So I know what you're saying, but if we live by that, I think we're going to assimilate ourselves to something that society demands from us, because I think freedom in Holland is being the way you are. And I know that when you go to your in-laws, that you dress properly, those are unwritten rules. But I think it's not that when he goes to university and he wears his cap, there's no. When it says on the door, you need to take off your cap, then it's a rule from within.
I grew up in that way.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.